Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already seen our other videos, go and check them out. We now move on to Treehouse of Horror, which is the third episode of season 2 of The Simpsons. This episode first aired on the 25th of October 1990.
Although the opening scenes only have this down as Halloween special, looking back on it now, you can sort of see where the Treehouse of Horror name came from. So obviously the stories are told by Bart and Lisa out of the treehouse itself. There is a debut of characters in this episode. This is the first appearance of Kang and Kodos. Basically, the episode starts off with Marge sort of giving a public service announcement, trying to make out that the show she feels is a scary episode.
She does that in a lot of the early ones. She's doing it in the later ones as well.
I think she only did for like the first 3, maybe first 4 Halloween specials. But yeah, just a thing they did with the early, like we say, the early incarnations of the Halloween specials, which evolved into the Treehouse Horror specials. So we'll start off with the first story. The first story is Bad Dream House. Now this is an adaptation or a parody of the book The Amityville Horror,
which he did loads of films, few films of.
Yep. Basically, premise of the story, the Simpsons have moved into this new house.
Because you could think Homer got a deal on the house.
Yeah, basically the house was cheap, so basically...
Because it was built on an Indian burial ground.
Which we find out later on in the episode. But yeah, typical of Homer in the early series, even though it's seen as a comedy element now, the fact that he's got money coming out of his ears. Yeah. But back then it's like he's scrimp and save to the fact that, buy this house because it's so cheap. Basically, as soon as he move in, all this stuff goes on. Lisa gets hit by a book.
Books are floating in the air.
Yeah,
basically.
She thinks it's Bart. The walls in the kitchen are bleeding. There's a vortex in the kitchen, which Homer decides to throw a piece of paper into, which subsequently gets thrown back at him with a note like, stop throwing your rubbish into our dimension and all this sort of thing.
The Simpsons later on, have voices heard saying that kill.
Yeah, basically everybody apart from Marge, even Maggie is not possessed, but they're convinced by the house, the voice of the house, to actually try and kill the other members. They're all against the individuals, they all must die and all this sort of thing. As we say, Marge is the only one not affected.
Well, she flips out at the actual house.
Even though leading up to it, you see her with a knife in her hand, so you think, oh, she's been possessed as well, but she's just making a simple sandwich, and it's literally her that basically stops them from trying to kill each other, makes them all apologise to each other, and she sort of takes the house on at this point. Basically, the house is flipping, just basically threatening them and all sorts, and she's just like, oh, stop being horrible and all this, we're going to have to live together.
But then that gives him time to think.
Yeah, the house.
Do you want to live with us or do you want to...
Yeah, the house just basically says, just need a second basically to think about it.
It blows itself up rather than live with the Simpsons.
Yeah, Lisa being a note, it's like, oh yeah, it chose to destroy itself rather than live with us. Then a little cute line in the end. You can't help feeling a little bit rejected there.
Actually based on true events, apparently, the book and the film. Apparently, the Amityville Horror is actually based on true events. We believe that or not, but apparently.
It's very possible, because as we say, although the series later evolves into the fact where, we've said it before, later series, they can't really think of their own ideas. They basically take so many ideas from current events, TV series, movies, so back in the day, this was seen as a new thing, a fresh thing that they were trying out.
It was good, actually.
Yeah. So that's the first story. The second story is entitled Hungry the Damned. Now, this one was a parody of an episode of The Twilight Zone, which was called To Serve Man. Basically, this one just starts off with Homer and Marge, or the family in the backyard, Homer preparing a barbecue, where he just ends up putting so much paraffin, or
paraffin, I'd say.
To the fact that he does do a comic moment where it's just like, mushroom cloud, he's put way too much on, even though you go back to it and it's like, oh right, he's not blown himself up or anything. This leads to, well, at the time we don't know it's Kang Kodos, but basically spaceship, transporter beams all the family up.
Apart from Homer, he had to have two.
Yeah, Homer had to have two, just basically, even back then, just basically like, Homer's this big.
And what they do is they feed the Simpsons on the ship. Lisa has been a know-it-all, thinking they're going to eat the Simpsons, so...
Yeah, well, basically you look at it and it's sort of like, well, yeah, they've given them this food, they're weighing them, to the fact that when Homer's weighed and you find out how big he is, it's like the licking the lips sort of thing. Then they start talking about this great meal, and it's like they're asking, oh, are we going to be there? And they're like, oh, you'll be the guests of honours and all this.
But then Lisa goes in search, and then she finds a book which How to Cook Humans.
Goes
to the see the family and goes, they're trying to eat us.
Yeah, this cookbook, it starts off, it's like she finds it, firstly it says how to cook humans, then it's like, oh, there's dust on it, then it turns into how to cook for humans.
But then he blows it again, how to cook for 40 humans.
And then it's like, yeah, so it just transpires, but then in the end it's just like, obviously they're just like, yeah, we were just trying to treat you like kings, basically. You'd have lived a perfect life on our planet. Because we find out at the end of the episode, their language is basically the same as English, basically. Because Marge thinks at first they're speaking English, but it's like their language and our language is the same. And basically, the episode ends, they just get thrown back into the backyard. And then the family don't turn against, but they sort of have a go at Lisa.
Well, Marge says something where, when we tell you...
Smart for your own good.
Smart for your own good.
But then Homer and Bart do sort of like lay it on, like, oh yeah, thanks a lot, Lisa, and all this. So they're basically, they're sowing the seeds there for Lisa being
a know-it-all.
But in this case, she's, as Marge says, too smart for her own good. So that one's basically that. The final tale is basically just a retelling of The Raven. Basically, poem from the 1700s. This one's pretty straightforward. Only real things to say is the characters who they play in them. Homer's the main sort of person in it.
Bart's the Raven, well, meant to be.
Yeah, he's a Raven. Marge is his lost love, who in this story is just shown as picture in a painting, although it's two pictures, just to emphasise the fact that Marge has got such big hair, and Lisa and Maggie just basically play a couple of angels.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's just a pretty straightforward one. As I say, it's just a retelling of the Raven poem, basically. Lisa just basically tells this story after Bart's told the other two, just to emphasise that there's basically trying to say each other's stories aren't scary. And Lisa's like, well, if they're Raven story, it's like, well, yeah, it was written in the 1700s. And Bart's like, oh yeah, pretty much like Friday the 13th Part 1, tamed by today's standards and all this.
Yeah.
So basically the premise of this whole thing is Bart and Lisa trying to scare each other to no avail. But the coup de grace is the fact that by the end of the episode,
Homer's scared.
Homer's been sitting outside Treehouse the entire time, and he's just shaking like a leaf, basically. He's basically found these tales scary as anything.
And he can't sleep. He doesn't even want the light turning off.
Yeah, Margie's trying to convince him to go to sleep. And basically, although she sort of convinces him, the episode ends with him struggling to close his eyes, basically. And yeah, that's basically it. Pretty straightforward episode. Basically, watching it back, it is one of the better episodes that they've done.
I do prefer the earlier Halloween special episodes.
So yeah,
because it drifts away from the actual main plot of The Simpsons. Has a bit of a different element to it, doing the Halloween specials.
Yeah, basically the early series, they were nice, sort of pull away from the series, as they call them, canon episodes.
Yeah, well, you can kill characters off in Halloween specials. You can do stuff like that because they're not in the main. It's not meant to be the main show, so you can kill characters off in a segment in Halloween.
Yeah, but to be fair with this one, this was just
This one was, yeah.
Three Tales,
yeah.
no killings off
No.
a sort. Obviously, it would the Treehouse Horror through the years would just evolve into the fact that they kill at least one character off. Like a later one, I think it was one from the
Ned Flanders got killed off.
Yeah, there was one from the 5th series. The actual cycle of it was all 3 episodes. Groundskeeper Willie gets killed off. I think it was the 5th installment of it. But yeah, for the first one in the trilogy, well, in the series of them, just a solid one, just flows from start to finish. So yeah, that's basically the episodes in it. Side note, going back to the Bad Dream House one, the voice of the house was produced by Dustin Hoffman, basically. Although he did have to do a couple of pickups on his voice after, because there was problems with the recording of it, and basically it was done so far afterwards. He would do those voice pickups on the set of the Peter Pan film he was doing, Hook. Although in the meantime, Harry Shearer did provide voice performances for it.
Yeah.
Other bits from the episode?
I think we've covered most of it. I think we've covered most of the episodes. So let's work about positives and negatives of the episodes. Let's talk about the negatives first.
Negatives, I'd probably say the Raven story. It just felt like it was just something that was thrown in there as a third act. They not really thought anything through of it, because it doesn't really.
I thought of that. I didn't think it was that. I didn't think that one was actually that good.
Because although they're all basically stories that are being taken from other elements, the other two at least put a different spin on it from the Simpsons side of it, whereas the Raven was more just Lisa talking it through. So, although it wasn't terrible, when you put it up against the other two stories in this one, it just lacks something in there. Any other negatives?
No, I think they were pretty decent episodes, weren't they, to be honest?
Yeah.
Main positives?
Just basically the whole thing with the other two episodes, like Kang and Kodo's coming in, strong one for them. I mean, obviously aliens, so you can sort of take it to a different extreme with them, so you can portray them as, you don't have to give them a decent story.
I did like the Amityville Horror segment in the first one. That was good.
Yeah, just
I did like it.
And plus the fact it's one of those, it's like taken away from the Halloween aspect. You could although obviously the idea of a house trying to kill or hurt you because of the way the Simpsons family is, you can sort of see it as being sort of a normal thing for them.
And I did like it when you thought Marge was going to be like the rest of the family, like kill each other. She was only making a sandwich. Yeah, I like that bit.
Just that whole setup, and just the fact that Marge is just like, where would you see someone arguing with a house?
Yeah.
And just the ending to that, the fact that the house has been trying to kill them for the entire episode, and then realises it's like, my God, this family's worse than me. I might as well just destroy myself. So yeah.
You can see why I don't want to live with the Simpsons.
And just the spin on the second episode, just the fact you look at it, you sort of go along with the Lisa aspect of like, yeah, they're trying to eat them, but just the different spin on it, like, no, we're just treating you nice and all this. So there's a different spin, sort of give you a little twist in it. Because with a lot of these stories, you can sort of go, oh, I see where this is ending, sort of thing. So that was a good aspect. Any other positives?
I think that's it. I don't think there's much to add, is there?
Not really. As I say, as an episode, it's just basically solid episode. So yeah, I think that'll tie it up for this episode.
Yep. If we've missed anything from the video or the episodes, let us know in the comments below. If there's a negative or a positive which you feel which we should have mentioned, also comment down below.
Yep. Like, share, subscribe,
and comment, and we'll see you in the next video.